morning everyone, how are you? Hope you've had beautiful days. Okay, so tonight we're talking about comparison and how that makes us feel, and you know, looking at, because we do it all the time, and especially since social media's become as big as it is, we spend a lot of time in comparison. Hey Beth, let's give it a few minutes actually, let everybody, a few people come on. Anyway, I'll just crack on. So comparison, this is a really, really big subject, and one that I absolutely love talking about because I have been through loads of experiences with comparison. In the beginning of my, my business years ago, I lived in comparison for a good couple of years. There was a certain person that I just was obsessed with and just stalked them on Facebook, and what are they doing that's different to me, and hey Barry, what are they doing that's different to me, and they must be better than me, and they must have different circumstances, and they must be more talented, and they must have more opportunity, and there's all this stuff that goes on. And social media has made it rife, isn't it? It's just constantly looking at other people's lives, and they're appearing to be happier, more successful, richer, thinner, all this stuff that goes on. And we look at that and we go, oh, this must be this because I'm shit, and we just turn the finger back on ourselves and look at ourselves in the mirror and just go, oh, this, I'm shit, everything's shit. And so if you're one of those people who tends to do that, and if have ever been through it, and all of us have, and I think at some point it might have happened at school, it might happen at work, it might be in a relationship, it might be anywhere, but at some point in our lives, some of us have been guilty of comparing ourselves to other people and not coming out well. And it's just not good for your hey Alison, oh god, see you for ages, how are you? And it's just not good for our psychological state, our emotional state. It's just not good. So what I want to talk about is sort of 3 tips for for not doing it, and a few more perspectives on exactly how you can resolve it and how you can sort of move past it. And many people, and it does creep into every area of our lives, like every area, professionally, emotionally, relationship-wise, everything. It comes into every part, and we've all been guilty of it at some point. And so I wanted to offer some perspectives and some thoughts about this. Okay, so number 1, and there's one thing before I get into it, is that on the point of social media, I have this conversation a lot. It's relevant to point 2, but I'm just going to preempt that point. When I talk to people about this, I always hear the same thing. They say, oh, well, Facebook's a load of crap anyway, isn't it? Because it's all fake. It's all, people are only, showing what they want to show. So I just want you to think about that. And if you're one of them people, then you definitely need to keep on listening, because I've got an interesting point of view on that. Okay, so number 1, I've made some notes so I don't go wrong. So if you're looking for someone, if you're looking at someone else and assuming, that's the key word, assuming that they are happier, healthier, richer, more successful, more in love, if you're looking at other people and assuming that, then first of all, just to spin that on its head a little bit and just to say, what is it about them that's triggering you? And instead of launching into comparison and putting yourself down, just by looking at yourself and saying, okay, that's triggered either some jealousy in me or some envy, or it's just triggered a negative feeling. Why is that? And so if you're looking at another person, so I'll use it in the context that it happened to me. They were more successful. I deemed them as more successful because at the time, my definition of success was what they had. My definition of success nowadays is very, very different. And I wouldn't swap with that person for the world today. But back then, this is a good 4 or 5 years ago, I deemed them and perceived them to be more successful than me. And on paper they were. But on paper and in real life is another thing. So So we'll use success as an example. So if you're looking at somebody and assuming they're successful, you say to yourself, right, okay, so this is triggering some emotion in me. I'm feeling like shit about myself. Why is that? Why are they more, why do I see them as more successful? And instead of seeing that as a bad thing, see it as motivation. Okay, what is it about their situation that's triggered this feeling in me, and what can I do about it? So instead of going into full self-loathing and beating yourself up about it, just say, okay, what can I do about it? If they've got a bit more of what I want, then what am I going to do about it? So it's an opportunity to look in the mirror, have a bit of a word with yourself, and just say, right, okay, instead of sat on my arse moaning about it, and I'm saying this because this is what I said to me. Hey Nathan, brilliant post earlier, by the way. Your posts always make me laugh. So instead of sitting on my arse, moaning about it, bitching about them, I'm going to do something about it and make sure that I don't need to look at that person and feel this feeling that I'm feeling. Hey Zoe. So that's one. So reframe jealousy, like reframe that feeling and go, okay, instead of being jealous about this and just, sitting there and moaning about it and feeling sorry for myself, I'm going to take that feeling that's been created, I'm going to take that trigger, and I'm going to say, right, okay, I'm going to do something about this, so the next time I look at them, I don't feel this way. So it's an opportunity for growth for yourself. It's an opportunity for you to go to say to yourself, right, okay, this feels a bit shit. I obviously want something of what they've got. I'm going to do something about it, and that might be getting healthier. So if you're looking at, somebody comparing weight or physique or whatever, then do something about it. If you want more of that, if you wanted it badly enough, you do something about it. And it's the same for everything else. It's the same for everything. Success and money, I'll not go through all the list again, but it's the same. So tip one is to, instead of seeing the trigger, the emotional response, the jealousy, the envy, whatever, or the comparison as a negative, go, right, okay, what is it that they have that I think I want? Make sure you do want it really. And if you want it that badly, use it as a trigger and motivation to do something about it. Okay. Step 2. Now, this is the one that I want to talk about, that I'm quite excited to talk about, because I've written down here, remember that what people show on social media is what they want to show. Fact, okay? Does this mean it's fake? No. So hey Shani, oh, how are you? You're not in the UK, are you? You're in New Zealand, Australia. Oh, I would get that wrong, and that's going to be really awful. Anyway, nice to have you. So people, I'm a you know me, I'm a positive person, right? And I see Facebook as a wonderful tool. I wouldn't have a business without it. I wouldn't be able to do what I loved without it. I wouldn't have met my husband without it. I wouldn't keep in contact with friends. Oh, you're in the UK. I thought that because you would have been asleep otherwise, wouldn't you? I wouldn't be able to keep in touch with friends that live in far off places as easily because of it. So I view Facebook as this incredible tool. And think about it this way. Hi, Ruth. I'm going to stop saying hello now because it does get annoying. At the end of my life, which I hope is in a very, very long time, my children will have a complete life story of my life, right? So people are going to show on Facebook what they choose to show, because they will share things they are proud of. They will share things that they are happy about. They will share moments of pride about their kids. They will share opinions and support, and that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I show all the things that I'm proud about, things that make me laugh, times with friends, great times in my life, right? That's what I show on Facebook. Do I share my dirty laundry with you? No, because it's nobody's business apart from mine. So somebody could look at somebody's Facebook and go, oh God, they've got this great life, they're always here, they're always there, and I hear people go, oh, but it's all bollocks, they probably, are they happy though, really? Well, yeah, I am actually. I just choose not to show the stuff that challenges me. I sometimes do if it's relevant, to what I'm talking about, especially because I do this, if it's relevant to what I'm talking about, I will share things that maybe are a little bit more private or a little more personal. But just because somebody isn't showing you what's going on all the time in their life, it doesn't mean to say that when they're sharing something on Facebook that's good and happy and positive and amazing, that that's fake either. And just as a little side note, I always think if your Facebook is full of negative people, then get some new friends. Like, get rid of them. And because my Facebook is just full of incredible, positive, funny, happy, wicked people. So when I get sucked into a Facebook hole, it's usually a really positive experience because I don't have anybody on my Facebook who's like that. I just don't. And if I do, I unfollow them because I just don't want it. So your Facebook is a really, really good representation of the company that you keep. So if you've got a newsfeed full of negative people, then that's up to you to sort that out. Okay, slight side note. So the point I want to make here eventually is that yes, you may be looking at somebody on Facebook and be going, do you know what? Hi Emma. Oh, give Skylar a kiss from me. You might be looking on Facebook and being in comparison with somebody else's life, and yes, it looks amazing, and it probably is amazing and good for them. But don't assume that means that they haven't got any shit going on, because you know I've had some tough times over the last couple of years. But I'm not going to come on Facebook crying about it, and I'm not going to share it with everybody because no one cares. No, the people don't really care. People care about themselves, their immediate family, and what they're doing. They don't really care about the wider, you know, what's going on in their wider Facebook network. So it's not a place to share that kind of stuff. But so what I'm saying to you is that think about if you're looking at somebody's life and going, oh yeah, they look really happy, good for them. But I'm sure they've got their own shit going on. I'm sure they've got their own pain that they're dealing with. I'm sure they've got their own insecurities and their own struggles. So instead of looking at somebody and just looking at all the amazing bits, and there's this brilliant quote by Derek Halpern, and it says, stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. For every big win, there is a mountain of loss. And this is massively important when it comes to success, and if you're in business, is that people in business, especially when they work for themselves, and you're sort of a person in entrepreneurship, will of course share their wins because it's great for their brand, it's great for their clients to see, or if they're in a service-based business, their clients to see, you know, the things that they've achieved and how great that is. But behind every successful person, there is a mountain of loss and disappointment. And trust me, you know, working for yourself and trying to build something that means something to you is difficult. It's not a life that everyone would choose. And for me personally, you know, we've had times when it's been incredible, like next level life kind of stuff. And we've had times when it's been really, really shit and really, really difficult. And I'm talking emotionally, financially, you know, so sometimes I can look at somebody in a normal job where they know exactly how much money they're getting paid every month, and they can plan everything. And sometimes I'll look at that and I'll go, oh God, you know, I don't live like that, but that's my choice, and I take the rough with the smooth. So what I'm trying to say to you is that if you find yourself getting sucked into comparison, nobody's life is perfect, and nobody is perfect, and there is a human being behind the Facebook profile, and that you know, that person might be going through a really tough time. And so it's sometimes good to just check in with yourself and remember, do you know what, actually I don't know what's going on in their life, and to choose to be happy about whatever they're sharing that's amazing, to be happy about it, and to not use it as an excuse to beat yourself up, because this isn't about them, it's about you. And I believe that if you're finding that you're in comparison a lot, then you're looking outward for the answer. You're looking externally for something to blame and something to justify, and to climb into sort of some self-loathing, and it's just not healthy for you in any way, shape or form. So that's a really long-winded way of explaining point two, but I'm really passionate about that. It's just that really be be the kind of person that's happy for other people. And if you can't be the kind of person that's happy for other people, then do some work on becoming happier yourself, because once you are truly happy yourself, you can be happy for anybody, no matter what the situation and no matter what situation you're in. And some of us are better than that, at that than others, you know. I've got some incredible people, friends in my life who, if they were homeless on the street, would be blissfully happy for the person that had won the lottery. Like that. Some people are like that naturally. Other people struggle a little bit and get caught up in their own stuff and constantly comparing to other people. And it's good to take a deep breath when you're feeling like that and just take a step back and go, actually, this probably isn't how it really. This isn't the whole story. I'm sure they've got their own shit to deal with, like I have, and just good for them that they're sharing something great. Okay, third point is sort of relative to the second point, really, but it's just never ever assume that everybody's got it all worked out, because we are all the same, and we are all we're all having all our own problems to deal with and all our own amazing moments, and it's just not realistic to look at somebody else's life and go, do you know what, their life's far better than mine. And it's just a real moment for you to just go, do you know what, this is silly, I'm not that bad, everything's all right. And in that moment, which leads on to the third point, is just to take a moment to realise what you have got. And I know everyone goes on about gratitude all the time, but it's so important. And just forgiveness as well is like, if you're finding yourself being a bit bitchy about somebody, and let's face it, we've all done it. And don't lie if you say, no, I haven't done that. We've all done it. We've all looked at somebody else and we've had some sort of comment to make about it. The fact we're even talking about it is gossiping. So if you're looking at somebody else and what they're achieving and you're finding yourself slipping into that space, just go, do you know what, actually, mind your own business. And I say that with love, and I say that not in the mind your own business kind of way, but mind your own business, like literally. So what have you got to focus on? What have you got to be happy about? What have you got to be grateful about? Because once you get into that space and you make that a consistent and daily practice to get into the habit of noticing where you are. And it's so difficult, it's so easy to sort of, God, hi Michael, got some right blasts from the past popping on. It's so easy in this very visual, visually represented world. We've got Instagram and we've got Facebook and we've got Pinterest and all this stuff bombarding us with all these images and consistently putting these lives of people and gossip magazines in our faces, and it's just like, it's so easy to be constantly looking outwards instead of just taking a moment and going, do you know what, look at what I have. And I was reminded of this yesterday. I went into Aldi and somebody had told me that they would go through a really tough time. I won't go into the details because it's not my place to share, but they were having a really, really tough time. And as I walked out, and I ended up like holding her hand and just saying, oh God, and in that moment I just thought, oh my God, like we moan about stupid stuff, and there's always somebody that is going through a really tough time, stuff that's next level tough that most of us will never ever have to go through. So it's a real reminder, if you're feeling in that place where you're comparing yourself to somebody else, that actually, how good have I got it? How good have I got it compared to a lot of other people? And we should feel that, like it's about being a good human being, is to feel sad for other people. It's okay to feel, and it's not all about positive thinking and, oh, let's just look on the bright side of everything. It's okay to feel sad when somebody else is in pain. That's being a great human being. That's having empathy and being compassionate and giving your time and your energy and your love to somebody if they're going through a really bad time. That's about being a good human being. I'm all into positivity and positive thinking and putting positive vibes out there, but also I allow myself to feel that if that's necessary, because that's what it is to sort of be emotionally involved, is the way I see it. So I hope that, like, by the end of this, listening to this, you have got a new perspective on comparison, and in the sense that it's natural, we all do it, but it's not something that's conducive to a good self-esteem, good self-worth, because everybody's got their flaws. And it's so funny. You hear people talk about themselves, and these people that you view as amazing, and you'll hear them talking about themselves, and they'll be moaning about this and moaning about that, and you just realise that they're just like you. Everybody's got their own, all their own fears, all their own worries, all their own troubles. They're no different from you. It just looks shinier because you're looking at it from an outside perspective. But sometimes when you stand in that person's shoes, it looks exactly the same as... Hi from Maryland. Oh, that's exciting. Love it. Zoe Shard, problems are the only problems depending on how they are dealt with. These are great. Love these sessions, Charlotte. Thank you so much, Zoe. Perfect note to end on. Thank you, Zoe. Exactly. So just think about that. I'm stood in my shoes. Let me look around and see exactly what I've got, how blessed and lucky I am, how, great things are. It's just about perspective. Look at how great I am. And the best thing about it is going back to point one, just to bring it all into a close, is that the best thing about seeing somebody else, if it triggers you, is just say, do you know what? I'm actually going to get off my arse and do something about it. If I'm jealous of that, I'm going to use that as fuel. I'm going to use it as motivation, and I'm going to use it as a positive to create some genuine action and change in my life. And then you can be proud of yourself, and then you can share your wins, and you can motivate and inspire other people to go for their thing and share that as well. I've read a story recently where somebody said, you know what, this is where life was, and I saw this person and they were absolutely smashing. I just thought, you know what, I'm capable, why not me? I'm going to go for it, and look what I've achieved. So thank people that are brave enough to put themselves out there, and that are brave enough to share their wins and share what they're proud about. It's a good thing. We need more of that in the world. So instead of sharing, instead of being worried about it, and instead of comparing yourself to it, just start to mind your own business and share all your great things and inspire other people to share theirs, and be happy with what you've got and aspire to be more if that's what you want. So that's it, I'm done. So thank you for all your comments, all your hearts, all your loves, and all the people watching. Appreciate all the people that don't normally pop on. Hi to everybody who I've not seen for years. Hope you're all well and having gorgeous times in life. Mwah. I'll see you later. Bye.